Corporations are starting to sue Google over their poor SEO results. Is SEO finally dead? Is this a trend that's building momentum? First, with HubSpot and major corporations are announcing their SEO is dead. In this video, we'll talk about those key points and where this is bringing us into SEO going into 2030. Let's highlight some of these key points. I started out in SEO on the dark web in 2008, and I had an executive from Motorola enlighten me on the process of SEO and some of the tactics that they use. If you look up Very Fajmina, this is where I cut my teeth on SEO management and learned everything from the insiders in corporate in America. In SEO 1.0, the strategy was very simple, and there's 3 steps here. In SEO 1.0, everybody would create content, backlinks, keyword stuffing, and a lot of these techniques would drop off with different algorithm updates. But it wasn't until Hummingbird annihilated a lot of these content farms. I actually interviewed Ed Brafton, which started out as a content sweatshop where they had a room filled with people bashing away articles that they would sell to their clients in order to influence their rankings and positions on Google. It worked. I was being hired for an SEO manager position, and they only had 2 or 3 SEO managers at one of their division offices in Chicago, and they had about 40 writers. Today, those writers have been replaced by AI, and the techniques are still being used to this day. That was over 15 years ago where SEO manipulation was a big tactic. So these brands, they would create these content, and the next stage in their evolution was YouTube content, where the algorithms would look at content as a way to gauge supremacy and authority. If you had more content, more backlinks, you had more authority, so you had more keywords and you had more positions. Then Hummingbird came just around the same time as the financial crisis, and Very Fajmina went out of business. Business to the point where they couldn't gain actual traction, customers, and momentum to sustain their growth. That was the first time SEO died. That was SEO 1.0. SEO 2.0 is really what we've been experiencing since Google Analytics 3, Google Analytics 4. The last 15 years has been SEO 2.0. The major brands, what have they been doing? In the SEO agency world, I would work for brands such as Build-A-Sign, which had millions of fake backlinks. We had to disavow them. And the SEO 2.0 era was a lot of these major brands, they did cleanup on their spammy backlinks. And it helped Google gauge the supremacy of those sites a little bit better, but it still influenced ranking. It was a game of whack-a-mole in SEO 2.0. You had guest posting, you had link pyramids, still to this day, you had sophisticated public blog networks, and eventually Google caught on, right? AI is the new equalizer here. So over the last 15 years, these major brands would get to the top. They would put keywords in my Google business page. You'll put them in different places. And just to feed the trolls, yes, SEO did die. And it's going to die again, and it's going to die again. And these are just the stages of SEO. So the trolls with the one-cell amoeba brains, get over it. Stop using those old tactics. Now, we've been trained as SEO experts from Google the last 15 years that we need to focus on content. We need to use this E, and then they added another E. You have to have your expert authority and your trustworthiness, and to a point that's still relevant today. That's one of the truths that Google gave us, because we found out in the Google leak, which you can watch in this video here, that none of that really mattered. They had their own algorithms to really just break down things. They have sandboxing. A lot of these myths that we would say to our clients never existed, or a lot of these myths we would say did exist, turned out to be validated by Google. And now in the last 6 months, Google's even telling us, well, if you're doing SEO, you might screw up your rankings. So SEO 2.0 has really just been like circling the drain for a while. Some people get to the top, some people get to the bottom. You have lower authority sites on page 1, then you have higher authority sites on page 2. You can't really make a lot of sense of it. You would kill your SEO and it just doesn't come back after you just reverse everything. And there are a lot of factors here at play. So SEO 2.0, what did it rely on? It relied on more links, more content, more web pages, and getting a lot of individual page rank and authority to separate pages. And I don't mean the old page rank that's dead in SEO 1.0. I mean getting links to your site and promoting specific pages. So what has the new innovation been? If you haven't lost 20 to 40% of your keywords in the last 6 to 12 months, you're not doing SEO right. And what does right mean? Well, as an SEO, we would gauge that by how many keywords you're getting and how much traffic you're getting. We would just look at the size of the opportunity. We never looked at what the value of that opportunity was. Zima Media does, on the other hand. We look at the value of that opportunity and we associate a dollar amount to it. Because why would you invest all this effort and if you have no output, no reward, nothing to show for? A lot of SEOs fail to communicate the value, and a lot of clients want to get the value of the keywords and the anonymous keywords that you just can't extract from Google because they hid it. They hid it in Google Analytics 2.3 era. It's been 15 years ago, so the methodology does not make sense. You have to look at cost per click and Google Ads, and that's a whole different game. So SEO 2.0 is dead. Backlinks really helped enable Google's competitors, ChatGPTs of the world, to look at what are the best sites. And they just built a model and they trained on it. And they update it periodically, but they have a good copy of Google's index. And that's what they use to build their own models and train on their own websites, so they don't need Google anymore, right? They crawled Google. Google enabled JavaScript, trying to slow down these crawlers, so it's more resource intensive, so it's more expensive for their competitors to do it. A little too late for Google. They definitely lost some ground there, but they're going to recover quickly, as I talked about in my previous video. Your keyword rankings are going down. What really happened here? Well, there's a couple things. More content is not helping you. My example is how many articles do you need to tie your shoes? Google it right now. You'll find 1 billion. Trust me, there's more than 1 billion. On how to tie your shoes. Something our parents tell us. You don't need Google for this. Right? It just shows you something that's informational, that's almost immaterial, to the point where an AI is going to tell you how to do this. It's going to generate pictures. It's going to generate videos. You no longer need a search result. And this AI is going to do this repetitively for 1 billion of those search results that happen. Those 1 billion times those questions get asked, how to tie my shoes, AI is going to generate it. So you're looking at your blog, your communication, and all this informational support. That's actually doing worse. Informational support is getting crushed because there's so much informational support that AI has moved in as a primary source. It no longer needs to send clicks. This is clickless. It's going to learn from your articles and generate an output. Unless your content is good, factual, cited, with data, graphs, pictures, testimonials, then the AI is going to cite you, because then you're a priority source. You're beyond informational support. You're more in the scholarly lane. And that's a big one here. If you've been doing anything but writing scholar level content, you're probably seeing great results. We're seeing those results here at Zima Media too. A lot of our articles are getting hit pretty hard. Some of them are doing really good, and they've always done good. And that's the key point here. What is changing now in SEO 2.0? Well, AI overviews. AI overviews is very interesting because it doesn't always deliver the same results depending on the search intent. So the example here is if you have informational support, like how to tie your shoes, Google's going to send traffic to the bottom 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 results. And the first 2 or 3 isn't always going to get those search results because they're going to get the informational support. They're going to do the AI overview, and you're going to scan the other pages because the overview, it skips over those pages. If it's transactional and you're in the top 3, e-commerce related, you're still going to get that traffic. And if not, you'll get more traffic because of that AI overview. So AI overview is certainly cannibalizing results depending on the communication. And this is harming brands, so much so that Chegg, an educational brand, is suing Google. And as we know, the most vocal are likely the ones doing the most unethical things here. And I've seen it in the agency world, all the unethical things everyone was doing in SEO 1.0 and then SEO 2.0 with backlink building. And now we're in SEO 3.0, where you should have been building a brand for 20 years and you did nothing. Welcome to the wake-up call that a lot of major brands need to have, And this is great news for small to medium-sized businesses who haven't been manipulating their rankings because they didn't have the budget to pay for backlinks, articles, all of this nonsense that an alcoholic in a casino is more responsible than you were with your marketing budget over the last 20 years. Now the small businesses, they're more frugal. They allocate their budget to the results. They follow the results, and incrementally, that's the key word, incrementally they improve on it. So SEO 2.0, circling the drain, backlinks, keywords, articles. You've been dead on arrival. Now we're moving to SEO 3.0. This is a goodie. What's happening with SEO 3.0? Well, it's not just Google. It's everything online. You should be doing everything. With the power of AI and a human touch, you can do everything. If you're not, well, you're going to have holes in your social proof. You're going to have holes in your brand identity, because what most SEO agencies didn't even do in SEO 1.0 or SEO 2.0 is branded versus unbranded share of traffic. If you spend some time dissecting the keywords that you're losing, a lot of them don't matter. If you're ranking for how to tie my shoes, you're probably coming up for shoe keywords, but you're also probably getting recipe keywords, something that's not relevant, right? Google made some of these links and connections. They're not always relevant. And sometimes you chase after the wrong keywords, sometimes you write the wrong articles, and you start ranking for the wrong keywords. And there is some symmetry here. You have to have some consistency. In order to help you rank better, one of the first things you can do is a content audit and start looking at the pieces of communication that are producing results, and look at your transactional keywords and your service pages and your FAQs and your white papers. And here's a risky strategy. Remove half of it. Remove 80% of it. That's a discussion we're having internally with our content. We got to remove all of it, unless it assists something that's authentic, unless it assists a resource, unless it assists something that a user takes action. Because actions are so important. Google can still analyze your content and look at the actions that are happening, and this is more true than ever. Actions have to happen on your website. People have to download things, they have to subscribe, and all these micro conversions are actually relevant. Especially if you're tracking these micro conversions, you're feeding it back to Google. Google says they don't train on it, but we know they do. The Google leaks, voila. Now these AI overviews are certainly going to continue to cannibalize your results. We know that the major brands already hit that iceberg. And us SMBs, we're the stowaways. We're downstairs dancing with Leonardo DiCaprio, having no clue what's going on. But we know something happened. We felt the boat shake, and we just need to do something. And if you have a first mover advantage, you do that content audit, you figure out the communication that's working, you do a content audit on your competitors, you start applying it, making it applicable for your website, and you take it a next step further, and you create scholarly level content, white papers. These white papers can be repurposed and used as lead generation for paid ads. You can build your entire strategy around something incrementally. And if you're going to start with incremental marketing, you have to start with something good. And I'm serious. Try eliminating all these pages that don't come up for anything on Google. That's going to eliminate a lot of the noise, and you'll probably see a boost in your traffic. Now in SEO 3.0, as I said, here's the goodie. We're going to have to, SEO 3.0 is going to be on the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the Pinterest, the YouTube, the Google, the ChatGPT, the Perplexity, the language models that are open sourced. Your site has to be everywhere. And there are some techniques you can do. You can start with your content. You can start with article schema. You can start with FAQ schema. And make your website enticing. You have to have that really good content. Because if all you're doing is just regurgitating what everybody in your industry is doing, well, they're already on page one. Are you just going to wait for the bus to pick you up and take you to page one? Or are you going to do something about it by ranking for real page one keywords? So you have to eliminate that bloat. You have to get your brand out there, because top of funnel identity, social proof, expertise, and your face, because if you're getting in front of a camera or you're getting in front of a keyword, you're already 10 steps ahead of these faceless marketers, these TikTok marketers, these people that are getting in front of the camera that are going to take your customers away from you, whether you like it or not. And the only thing you can do is brand, and that action can be measured. So now branded is a big factor here. How big is your brand? What is your brand perceived as? What are the reviews of your brand? How many branded searches are you getting? Because that's going to be 80% of your results in AI. AI is going to recommend you, give that informational support, those white papers, and it's going to pop a little link in there, a little tab from Zima Media. That's huge. Because if you're getting branded traffic, people are going to go to Google, check out your brand, and actually research your brand. Now, this is powerful. Your brand has to be perceived as valuable. And being on Google and all these other search engines, all your profiles, all those things factor in, your social proof, your likes, your shares, those are all going to be considered here. You're unbranded. Unless you're very specific and you don't have a lot of competitors and there really isn't a lot out there and you're a primary source or maybe even a secondary source, you can still get some traction on unbranded. But unbranded, do you want to focus on the transactional keywords or do you want to focus on the informational support keywords? Those informational support keywords, you have to put that in the scholar pile, do something once a quarter, biannually, yearly. Spend 6 months writing something amazing and put it on your website. Transactional keywords, make a better transactional page with more resources, videos, testimonials, FAQs. That's how you can make a good transactional page. Now, a moment of silence for SEO 2.0. What's for dinner? Anyways, SEO 3.0 is here already. It's using AI. Google is going to invest nearly $100 billion into their data centers to make it better. And if you're chasing vanity metrics, if you're chasing outdated techniques, there's nothing I can do to help you. Like I said, you're just in a casino and you're a gambler and you have no idea what's going to happen, but the house always wins. And in this case, you need to get your house in order and focus on the scholar level content. Get yourself in front of everybody and do everything. Tell me in the comments below, are you experiencing a trend in negative results from SEO? Or do you feel confident that SEO 2.0 is here to stay and you don't believe in SEO 3.0? I'd like to know.